Alright lads, welcome back to the channel. Do you want a tank that actually is fun to play, enjoyable, deals good damage and good rewards? Well lads, I'm sorry to say, but in War Thunder, you're going to have to pay for that experience. I've basically been taking a break from top tier, and I have quite unashamedly been seal clubbing. The AEC Mark II is a battle rating 3.0 premium in the British tech tree. It is a 4x4 chassis with the very high velocity 6-pounder gun, the same gun that's found on the Crusader Mark III, I believe. This premium was awarded for the 2018 Festive Quest, where you could also earn the Warcrime Panther. Most people obviously chose that instead of this, which has led to this tank being quite rare. You very hardly see them on the battlefield. They were recently brought back in the 2023 Christmas event boxes, which has led to their price dropping significantly on the Guardian marketplace, now being around 48 Guardian coins. While this is a rather high price for a low tier premium vehicle, remember that due to this being an event vehicle, it can still be used to grind out events in War Thunder, despite it only being rank 2. If you have the AEC, as well as the Grant Mark I, which is another event vehicle, you can grind out any of the ground forces events in War Thunder at the low battle rating of 3.0, which is very enjoyable and is nowhere near as mind-numbing as playing top tier. And due to both of these tanks being exceptionally good, you can easily get 5,000 score per game. It is shameless seal clubbing, but hey, I've not got a lot of spare time, so I'm going to grind these events as quick as possible. Because it's such a low battle rating, I would definitely get the Expert and Ace Quali. For 32,000 Silver Lines, you get the Expert, and for 210 Golden Eagles, you get the Ace. This improves your repair speed, as well as significantly increases the rate of fire. A well worth the investment. So boys, with its great mobility, incredibly powerful 57mm gun, and the ability to grind out all the events in War Thunder, is it worth investing your hard-earned cash into such a low-tier vehicle? Well, if you'd like to know more about this tank, lads, like and subscribe, and watch to the end of the video. Alright lads, welcome back to the channel. So the mobility of the AEC in many ways is characteristic of a lot of the wheeled vehicles in War Thunder. It's rather slow accelerating, but it's got decent mobility on paved surfaces. The top speed going forwards is a very nice 68 km per hour, but you're never going to reach those speeds, to be honest. But don't worry lads, the tank still remembers that it's British, as we have an abysmal reverse speed of 9 km per hour. So if you've been engaged by an enemy, or more importantly, remember you left your cup of tea downstairs and you need to go back and get it, I'd recommend just driving forward and turning around, rather than trying to reverse. If we do get spotted though, we do also have 18 smoke grenades, which fire forwards through a hole in the turret. This also allows us to drive into the smoke, which allows you to disappear a lot quicker than just regular smoke grenades. Due to the AEC also being a light tank, we can also scout people, which really does give this tank a multi-role capability. Not only are we highly mobile with a fantastic gun, don't worry, we'll get onto that shortly, we can also play this tank very passively with that good scouting feature. An area of this tank which definitely isn't a highlight is the survivability. If we take a quick look at this cutaway, we can see that the crew are crammed in like an El Salvadorian prison. It looks even worse from the top down, as the crew are basically all sat on each other's laps. I bet this crew compartment stank of body odour, pickles and mustard. The three things most attractive to British women. As you can imagine, the armour protection is also pretty atrocious. The upper frontal plate is around 17mm thick, which means we are not proof against 50 caliber machine guns. The turret is thicker at 31mm thick, and the side armour of 25mm is also basically non-existent. This means the tank is vulnerable to everything you meet on the battlefield, especially to CAS armed with 50 cal machine guns, and of course the artillery rounds. But my friends, that is where the downsides end. Let me introduce to you the 57mm 6-pounder gun. This gun does more lifting than Sydney Sweeney's lower back. It is very high velocity, and surprisingly for a British gun, actually has good damage. Despite only firing solid shot ammunition, lacking any explosive filler, the damage that the APC BC rounds that this thing fires is enormous. And with the high penetration, as we'll see when we get to the ammunition, you can bully KV-1s and pretty much every heavy tank you will come across. But back to the gun statistics, we have 60 rounds of ammunition, and we completely lack an ammo rack. We have 10 degrees of gun depression, and 20 degrees of gun elevation. Again, allowing this tank to be incredibly flexible, no matter the playstyle. And to make this tank even better than it already is, we also have a vertical gun stabilizer, basically similar to the short stabilizers found on the Shermans. This means not only do you have fantastic mobility, as well as a fantastic gun, you almost always are also going to get that first shot off, allowing you to target the vital parts of an enemy tank first. And again, with your high pen rounds, you are almost certainly going to penetrate as well as be accurate. Remember in the beginning of the intro when I said you should invest in that expert and ace qualification? Well, this is why. If we look at the weapon reloading skill, we can see that with an ace crew, our reload is 4 seconds. Again, high mobility, high pen gun, good damage, and you can fire every 4 seconds. This tank is basically more effective than any other tank in the British tech tree, but again, you're going to have to pay for it. Alright, let's finish this by looking at the ammunition. This is a premium, so we come with every round already unlocked obviously, which means there's basically no reason at all to use the Shot Mark 8 or the Shot Mark 5 high velocity. You also have the Shell Mark 10, this is a high explosive round, but because the millimeter of this cannon is only 57mm, it has basically no explosive filler, meaning it is basically useless even at this low battle rating. The absolute powerhouse of this tank though is the Shot Mark 9. This is a solid shot, armor piercing capped ballistic cap shell, which travels at 847 meters per second. Very high velocity for such a low battle rating. It can penetrate 132mm of armor at point blank range, which means even the most heavily armored heavy tanks at this battle rating are completely vulnerable to your gun. Importantly, it also means in a full up tier to 4.0, you can also penetrate every heavy tank you come across. So it's got good mobility, fantastic firepower and ammunition, it can grind events basically for top tier event vehicles, and it's basically up tier proof, both due to its high pen gun and its good mobility. So is there actually anything that this tank has to be worried about? Well, there's a few tanks. First is the T-34. While the APC BC round of the AEC is good, it isn't the best against angled armor, and the early T-34s with the sloped upper frontal plate and quite trolly turret fronts can pose quite a challenge to you. The other tank I thought I'd mention is the KV-1. When the tank's facing you, it isn't that hard because its armor's kind of flat at the front, but if he's angled and knows what he's doing, it can be quite hard to penetrate the KV-1s. In this case, just go for the cannon, it'll make him mauled in chat as well. Try and flank him and shoot into that fuel storage and blow up the tank. Another trolley vehicle is the SU-122. Not only does it have fantastic frontal armor, its gun can also overpressure you very easily. And finally, we have the Whirlwind. This tank's pretty easy to kill, but it can absolutely shred you apart with its 4 20mm cannons. So boys, I think I've made it abundantly clear that this tank is just a go-to for me. It's incredibly relaxing to play, it's just such a low battle rating, it's so good to, it's just, there's no downsides to it. Sure, the armor isn't great, but what do you expect? Pretty much every low tier vehicle doesn't have any survivability. I grinded out the Object 292 with this thing, I played it every day. I've got like 20 gigabytes of footage from it, and that is just the best kills. If you've got a bit of Gaijin coins available, or you've sold off the 292 or the Mirage, I'd highly invest in picking up this tank. It's incredibly fun to play, it can grind up to rank 3 in the British tech tree, and the next time they do an event for a vehicle like a high tier tank, you can use this to grind it. There's no downsides. There's no downsides to this vehicle whatsoever, apart from the cost being 48 Gaijin coins and having to give more money to this company. Anyway, lads, I'd like to give a big thank you to my YouTube producers, Lola Alphonse, Tans, Daboa LX, Dr. Bob, Tomster013, RS28 Sarmat, Schlunty, Van Halen, Diogenes, Econ, Rodolfo Dizon, and Alan Hacker. Thank you very much, lads, for supporting the channel. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, leave a comment saying teabags. If you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a member by pressing the join button. Check out the Discord server where I frequently squad up with my members and friends, and don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Thanks again for watching, lads, and I'll see you in the next video.